Touchstone Essentials is born of years of experience. My experience both as an independent distributor in the industry, as an executive inside the industry, but maybe just as importantly as someone that has consumed, used vitamins, nutritional supplements now for more than 20 years. I have more than a casual interest. It's, for me, something that's important for myself and my family, but it's also been a part of my business life day in and day out for so many years. As we began to look at the Touchstone product line, look at what the industry was doing, what it had to offer, what became clear more than anything was what the industry had turned into versus really what we believe it should be. Most vitamins and supplements that you look at today, they're really just something that's been created inside a lab or a test tube. They're ingredients and raw materials that are developed in far-off factories in foreign countries where those labs or those factories are unregulated. The sourcing of the material is something we're not completely certain of. In fact, most estimates are that some 60, 70, maybe as much as 80% of all the raw material ingredients that are going into the supplement industry today are coming from far-off lands and unregulated factories. And when you look at what comprises most products, if you spin their labels around and look at them, you'd be shocked if you know some of the terms, how many of the ingredients are either synthetic or just simply isolates. One of the more obvious and easy examples of that is to look at vitamin C. Most vitamin labels, when you look at it, you'll see a listing for vitamin C, and in parentheses next to it, you'll see ascorbic acid. And ascorbic acid is allowed to be identified as vitamin C, but it's only one component of the vitamin C molecule. It's not complete. It's an isolated a form of vitamin C, and what they're relying on is that when you consume it and it gets in your body and your bloodstream, your body will be able to convert it into vitamin C in the same way that it would if you had gotten your vitamin C from food. And of course, that's a challenge. There's plenty of research out there to suggest that that doesn't take place. And in fact, if you look at some of that research, if you look at the difference between eating vitamin C from food versus eating it from something or getting it from something like ascorbic acid, its reactions in your body, the outcome is just entirely different, one being healthy and one not being healthy. And so when we looked to develop this product line, we felt that the industry, 99% of the industry, was underserving the community, underserving the consumer, and we felt like that was a tremendous opportunity for us. Supplements have turned into something I refer to as Franken Supplements, not unlike what we have with processed foods today that are hardly recognizable when you compare them to the fresh fruits and vegetables that we know provide the nutrients that our bodies so desperately need. And so for us, it was very important to look critically at our sourcing, to look at the farms, the farm co-ops that we could get our materials from, because we want to make sure that none of our materials are genetically modified. We want to look carefully that organic practices are being followed. We want to make sure that sustainable practices are being used by the people that we're working with. We want to make sure that our products are free of synthetics and isolates. We want to make sure our processes don't destroy those delicate phytonutrients and enzymes. So we make sure that a cold process is utilized. It never allows the raw materials to get above 106 degrees. We know at 116 degrees, you can begin to damage those phytonutrients and enzymes that are so vital to maximizing the biological availability of the supplements that you're taking. Look, the supplement industry is a big business. There's some $25 billion that's spent annually in the United States. Estimates are that 150 plus million people in our country use supplements, and it's really disheartening to think that the majority of those consumers are using products that aren't living up to their labels. Most of the time it's overhyped and really it's delivering at a level far below what expectations are. And frankly, I can see why some consumers have some frustration with the industry. At Touchstone Essentials, we are dedicated to taking a different course of action because we know things can be done better. And every day when consumers pick up our products, they've got a chance to use a product that represents the essence of those foods that were used to create that supplement, so that your body has a chance to draw that good inside that we know can bridge that gap between where someone is with their health habits and where they want to be. A supplement that meets up to the obligation of what those supplements are to do in terms of having an impact on people's health.